Hello everyone, thank you for joining us on this edition of the 6 p.m. prime time newscast on Equinox Television, live from my headquarters in Cameroon's economic capital, Douala. I am Babla Jonathan. In our top stories in this edition of the news, women in Kumba, Meme Division, southwest region of the Republic of Cameroon, compel the city council to reverse its anti-ghost town strategy. The women took to the streets today protesting against the closure of the market. The main market of the city has been reopened. And in this newscast, we will also bring to you details on the killing of a 13-year-old child beaten to death here in Cameroon's economic capital, Douala. And in the far north region of the country, the impact of famine and skyrocketing prices of basic commodities are weighing down increasingly on the population, and they are urging the government to rescue them from the difficult situation in which they find themselves today. Women in the town of Kumba in the Meme Division, southwest region of the Republic of Cameroon today took to the streets protesting against the closure of the market, the main market of the city, by the city council, and this is within the framework of the local or municipal authorities' strategy against the Operation Ghost Town imposed by pro-independence fighters within the context of the 4-year-long deepening Anglophone crisis. And the women have compelled the city council to reverse its anti-ghost town strategy. They protested in the streets of Kumba today, and at the end of the day, the main market has been reopened. Details with Immaculate Fogwe.
The fight against Operation Ghost Town sends women to the streets in Kumba, Meme Division, southwest region of Cameroon. They are traders at the Kumba main market. Their shops and the market have remained closed for over a week. The city mayor shut down the market as a strategy to compel the traders to stop respecting Operation Ghost Town imposed by pro-independence fighters every Monday. And now they are saying enough is enough. Their families will not perish because of a problem they did not cause. Unable to enter the premises of the Kumba City Council, they marched to the palace of Fon Ekoko Mukete. In the absence of the paramount ruler of the Bafors, the angry women were received by his father, Senator Fon V.E. Mukete. He invited the city mayor for a consultation in view of solving the plight of the protesters.
Think about yourself. Think about your family directly. Go unseal the stores.
And the Kumba main market has been reopened. The sealed shops unsealed. However, the city council remains determined to put an end to the phenomenon of ghost town in Kumba.
When I go open my stores there next week,
two daughters of one of the separatist generals in the northwest region of the Republic of Cameroon, Alaji, have been handed over to the Ministry of Social Affairs. They were captured in the Bafut during an operation codenamed Bafut 2. And Stella, our correspondent in the Northwest region, also spoke to the Northwest Regional Delegate for Social Affairs, who says their services are in urgent need of infrastructures to attain the needs or to meet the needs of many who are in distress as a result of the Anglophone crisis. Her report.
Parents sending out their child from home watch is expected. Brigadier General Kamer, commander of the 5th Joint Military Region, sends off 17-years-old Sonita and 6-years-old Geraldine.
And wish you a bright future and good luck, right? When you go study, you go to school, to make sure that you become a great big lady in this country, right?
The 2 girls were captured from their home at Acheni, a locality in Bafut, during an operation codenamed Bafut 2. They are daughters of Ambazonian General Alaji, otherwise known as General Deadman. He is said to have escaped with his wife when soldiers stormed their residence during the operation in May 2020.
The mission given to us by the President of the Republic is to protect and secure the population of the Northwest region. This is why, even knowing that those 2 children, their father is a non-terrorist, we said, let us take care of them.
Since then, the girls have been under the care of the 5th Military Region.
For the last, let's say, 3 months, we accommodated and fed the 2 children while the investigation by the gendarmerie and also the social investigation was going on.
Under normal circumstances, the girls will be in the care of the Delegation of Social Affairs. Madam Rebecca Nkwati, Northwest Regional Delegate for Social Affairs, says they are lucky the hierarchy of the military stepped in as their service lacks the appropriate facilities.
We don't have all it takes to handle these children, because the first main thing that they needed, if they were handed to me that same day, was space, a lodging. And because we don't have a center for children in distress in the Northwest region, we would have been handicapped. We have had cases that have come to us and we get stranded looking for where to place them.
Today, the girls are happy to regain normal life. For a long time, Geraldine has not been in the company of her age mates. With the ongoing armed conflict in the Northwest region, Madam Rebecca is concerned about the well-being of internally displaced persons in particular, most of whom are in urgent need of support from her ministry.
I've already launched an appeal to my minister, and I think that they are trying to study it. But I want to launch an appeal to the Reconstruction Committee that in planning reconstruction in the Northwest, they should consider this need, not only a center for children in distress, but a center for persons in distress. Most of the IDPs, when they come to us and their first need is lodging, they are really handicapped.
Sanita will be completing her training in hairdressing. She has been provided the basics to start with, while her sister will continue her education. There are 2 out of thousands affected as the crisis drags on in the English-speaking regions of Cameroon. Many have expressed their desire to see an end to violence which has brought hardship.
And hundreds of thousands of Anglophone Cameroonians or English-speaking Cameroonians forced out of their homes in the 2 Northwest and Southwest Anglophone regions are in dire need of humanitarian aid. Many of them are living in precarious conditions in different parts of the country, while there are some who are now refugees in the Federal Republic of Nigeria, looking forward to the day when the violence in their area of origin will come to an end so they can return home. In the meantime, the government governor of the Southwest region, Bernard Bilai, says the launching of the first Francophone Catholic Church in the region will go a long way to enhance national integration. David Sunmaimo reports from Limbe.
After 40 years of existence, the Francophone Catholic community in Limbe finally now have a place of their own to worship. Officiating at the official service of the Francophone Catholic Church in Limbe, the Apostolic Administrator of the Buea Diocese, Bishop Michael Bibi, challenged the Francophone Catholic Christians not to relent their effort of making the church a full Francophone parish.
In these 40 years, we have been looking for the opportunity to have land. We have been looking for contributions in order to help them have a building where they can use for worship. You agree with me that we celebrated Mass today in the hall, which is one of the first buildings that they are putting up. Eventually, they'll be able to construct a church building where they will be able to worship God there. Challenge them that they should make sure that they equip the presbytery in such a way that a priest can live there, because there's no need making a parish when the priest will not be resident there.
Being the first Francophone Catholic Church in the Southwest region, Governor Bernard Bilai said the launching is a sign of enhancing national integration.
For me, a sign that the living together is not just a slogan, that the national integration is, because those people, they will never go back. They don't have any other home. Their home, they were born here, they are here. That's why they think that they should have all what they may need.
The senior priest of the church added his voice to say, a Francophone church in an Anglophone area is not just peculiar to the Southwest region, but it is a sociological component of the church that exists everywhere in the world.
They are not having themselves different from the Anglophone. We can come together despite our differences and praise God. Integrated into the common church, which is the church in the Diocese of Buea, governed and being led by Monsignor Michael Bibi.
The church service was equal an opportunity for some uniformed men who accompanied the governor to receive blessings from the bishop as he prayed for them. The 2 hectares of land on which the church is constructed is thanks to the government of Cameroon, reason why the bishop handed the Holy Bible to the governor. The Francophone Catholic Christian community in Limbe was reintegrated in the Holy and Trinity parishes of Newtown and Bota and have been worshipping alongside the Anglophone counterpart for over 40 years.
Coming up, Immaculate Fogwe unearths the hidden facts concerning a 13-year-old boy beaten to death in Koto in the Dollar 5 subdivision. The alleged killer is under police custody and we went investigating. Immaculate Fogwe compiled the facts in this report.
13-year-old Jokmini Stefan Ludovic, popularly called Dylan, will not be able to achieve his dream of becoming an electrician or a footballer in future. The Form 3 student schooling at Collège Canaries in Koto Village in the Douala 5 subdivision was beaten by his neighbor for allegedly stealing his phone. The sudden demise of the teenager has left his mother, father, brothers, friends and other family members inconsolable. The suspected murderer of Dylan, Niklat Kalos, was immediately arrested by the forces of law and order for questioning. Dylan took Kalos's phone to a technician to decode it without permission. Kalos, while at the technician's workshop, saw his phone, so he told the technician that it belongs to him. He was later told that the phone belongs to Dylan. On that fateful day, we were playing football. Carlos had to stop our match by calling for Dylan in his room. They started beating him with a lock of wood. The neighbors tried to stop him, but he did not heed. to their call. According to the mother of Dylan, the pains inflicted on her son caused him to pass out immediately as he arrived home. Dylan was not sick. When he arrived home, he told me that Uncle Carlos used a lock of wood to beat him. Unable to bear the injuries, he fainted. We immediately rushed him to the Quarter Hospital. The doctor told us that we should rather take him to the Lakantini Hospital. While on our way there, he died. 4 days after the demise of Dylan, his father was arrested. According to him, his arrest was meant to convince him to accept that his son Dylan was sick.
Ils ont voulu que j'accepte.
They took me to the cell and started pressurizing me that I should accept that my child was sick before being beaten. I refused to succumb to their call. So they decided to lock me up. They liberated me so I could go bury my son. After the burial, I will have to go back to the cell. The family are calling on competent authorities to intervene so justice can be served.
Now we take you up north. The famine-stricken population of the far north region of the country are urging the government to save them or rescue them from the difficult situation in which they find themselves today. The prices of basic commodities are on a sharp rise on the markets in that part of the country. Inosinazi has the details.
From their look and posture could be read the writings of famine and malnutrition. This population of the far north region, in this exasperated mood, are baffled on which direction their livelihood is being dragged to, as a square meal comes like manna from heaven.
Nous sommes dépassés.
Je me rends compte que le gouvernement est en partie responsable.
I believe government is responsible as trade has been abandoned in the hands of individuals who do what they like and skyrocket prices of foodstuff. Government is not playing its role to control prices.
Le chef d'État prend les décisions, mais est-ce que sur le bas plan on exécute ces décisions?
A bag of yellow maize, which at first was sold at 9,000 francs CFA or 10,000 francs 5 months ago, is now sold at from 22,000 francs to 22,500 francs CFA, an increase of more than 11,000 francs.
C'est difficile pour un père de famille. Donc c'est pourquoi la famille est entrée partout, mais on n'arrive plus à se nourrir.
They are now compelled to consume red maize instead of the yellow one.
La tasse de mil jaune.
A cup of yellow millet costs 300 francs CFA, while a cup of red millet is bought at 200 francs. Reason why we prefer to consume the red millet.
Dans certaines zones là.
According to the locals, high demand of the millet by Nigerians in the far north markets, high demand by non-governmental organizations to supply refugees in and out of Cameroon, high cost of fertilizer, little or no rainfall, and many other factors account for the exorbitant prices, with the local population incurring the adverse consequences.
Ils ramènent ça directement au Nigeria. Donc c'est ça qui cause la famine.
Vous voyez que les prix vont continuer à grimper parce qu'il ne pleut pas.
Malnutrition is what is up their children and not malaria, cholera and other illnesses as authorities claim.
Chez nous c'est pas les palus, d'abord c'est des menaces parce que les enfants ne se nourrissent mal.
This malnutrition, according to Dr. Hamadou Nasuru, has brought on some children other health complications.
D'autres ceci encore amène de certaines complications à certains enfants qui ne sont pas habitués.
These are children who are not used to consuming red millet, thus suffer from diarrhea, constipation and so on. Most of them also look pale due to switch of diet and the fact that they now battle for a square meal instead of 3 daily.
Manger une seule fois par jour. Donc c'est vraiment un peu compliqué.
An urgent call for intervention is channeled to government authorities in Yaoundé.
On doit former les enfants en agriculture.
Government should kindly help truly empower and encourage youth to engage in agriculture.
Voilà, commençons à la base, à faire des matières, à former des professeurs en agriculture.
Bon, pour remédier à ce problème, donc, nous aimerions que l'État nous aide.
Government authorities should grant subsidies to producers.
Les producteurs. Sans subvention, sans aide, on ne peut pas, un paysan ne peut pas s'en sortir.
With this exasperated look, the population desperately awaits a quick and positive reaction from Yaoundé.
Cameroon's Minister of Territorial Administration, Atanganji Paul, has advised inhabitants of the country's economic capital, Douala, to stop building houses in risk zones. He was in Douala yesterday and today after the heavy downpour and floods that hit several parts of the town, and the minister urged the population to collaborate with administrative and municipal authorities in the fight against this problem. And the city mayor of Douala, Roger Mbassadine, said the city needs 240 kilometers of drainage canals to solve the problem. Smanji Kangebre has more.
The ugly face of the bridge linking Makepe Misoke, Bonamusadi and Bepanda, Friday, August 21, 2020. People couldn't use this bridge due to the heavy downpour. Monday, August 24, 2020, the Territorial Administration Boss, Atanganji Paul, visits the site as he came to the economic capital to condole with victims of the flood. From the Douala 5 municipality, Atanganji Paul moved to Bilonge neighborhood, Block C, in the Douala 3 subdivision. Here, the Equinox TV crew met a family that is still suffering from the aftermath of the flood. Because of this stream that overflowed, several important materials were destroyed. It destroyed everything, and we couldn't remove anything from the runoff that came into our house. Mattresses, dresses, and even a recently bought box. The Minister of Territorial Administration advised the inhabitants to obey instructions from authorities.
Following the pictures and the reports from the local administrative authorities, the magnitude of the damages, I think that it was quite enormous. We have to ask the local population to work hand in hand with the local administrative authorities and with the government. If you have to go and build in a swampy area, you should know sooner or later that your building will be damaged either by floods or by other natural disasters. So it's very, very important that when the local administrative authorities tell you that you should not build in swampy areas, you have to follow them. Because we are defending your own rights. If you go and invest in a swampy area, sooner or later you will lose your investment.
At each of the stopover, the minister gave out some necessary materials to assist the flood victims. Before descending to the field, in a meeting with local authorities at the governor's office, Territorial Administration Boss talked about the drainages in Douala.
The local population should help the administration also in having, I can say, a Republican behavior. The drainage system has to be looked upon, but I think that if we send garbage all the time on the ground, I think we'll destroy the drainage system. And when the waters come, because all the drainage system, the water cannot circulate normally, then it will resurface and will go into these floods. So I think that the local population should be sensitized so that they should know exactly what has to be done so that we avoid things like that.
Over 509 flood victims are expected to receive aid from the government, while the city mayor of Douala, Roger Mbassadine, says Douala needs a drainage of 204 kilometers to alleviate the population from the floods.
from Douala, Minister Tanganji Paul proceeded to Sanchu in the west region of the country, precisely in the Menwa division. In that locality, a landslide recently hit a neighborhood following a heavy downpour, and over 6 houses were destroyed and close to 200 persons affected by that incident. And the near collapse of a metallic culvert on the Sanchu Road equally interrupted circulation for several hours. It should be noted that Sanchu is a locality where landslides are recurrent. In 2016, a landslide, or rather 2017, a landslide swept away several houses in that locality. The minister was there bringing words of comfort to the population from the President of the Republic, and equally aid to the population. And yesterday, the Minister of Territorial Administration, Tanganji Paul, was equally in Idea in the Sanaga Maritime Division. Floods have also been causing enormous damage in that part of the littoral region of the Republic of Cameroon, and the Minister of Territorial Administration was there to see the damage caused by the floods following heavy downpour in that part of the country, and of course to take stock of the situation and the measures that are to be implemented in view of solving the problem of floods in Idea in the Sanaga Maritime Division, littoral region of the Republic of Cameroon. Now we are moving on to something else now, to talk about the situation which is prevailing here in Cameroon's economic capital, Douala, where several neighborhoods are begging for good roads, are begging for social amenities, and this is making life quite difficult for inhabitants who are finding it quite difficult to move from different parts of the town to the other as a result of bad roads and the absence of social amenities. We'll be coming back to that report in our subsequent news editions, and this is where we wrap up the first part of this edition of the 6 p.m. newscast. Coming up next, Talking Point. Thanks for joining us in Talking Point. We are receiving a civil society leader, David Senate. You're welcome.
Thank you very much, Jonathan. Good to be here.
Right, you saw the minister on the ground here in Douala taking stock of the situation as far as floods. The problem of floods is a concern in Idea, in the Sanchu. What do you think about all the efforts that the authorities are putting in to solve this problem?
Yeah, it's a very unfortunate situation, especially that it would appear it's the population that is stubborn, because they probably buy these swampy areas in dry season when it's manageable, and in spite of all the warnings that they are given, they still persist and build there, and when trouble comes, it comes very swiftly. I think the local authorities too should be more proactive. They should stop them before they carry out the investments that they do there. But I have a feeling that the local authorities are themselves corrupt, in the sense that they know that the people are not supposed to build there. When they go there, they don't chase them away, because the people give them something and they stay there. And this
it's a problem of corruption.
Yes, it's a big problem of corruption. I remember when the airport area, the Axlu, just started, there were no people there. This area had been completely declared marshy, was not fit to build. But over the years, we saw new towns coming up, village and all that. And all that area is really the bed of the Wuri basin. And anytime, the place can get flooded.
And the people continue building in places like Bois de Singe, in places like Makepe, Misoke, in the valley, and other places in Dakar neighborhood and so on.
The government or the authorities seem helpless to displace them. But when it comes to other things, they seem to have the force.
But is the solution just displacing them, or
no? The solution is to ban them from building there. Give an order that I cannot decide and go and build my house in the middle of the stadium. The police will be there to eject me. Nobody will accept. But these people go and build in that place. They know that it's dangerous. The people in the council, they know it. But they pass around, collect money from them, and shut their eyes. And normally when disaster comes, those people who were in place at the time they were building are no longer there. Either they've been transferred, they've gone on retirement, or they're doing something else. And nobody is held to account.
And what about what is qualified as the chaotic economic or financial situation of Cameroonians? Poverty.
Yeah.
Many of those people will tell you, we can't afford to have a piece of land, 10 meters square, 50 meters square, out of these areas.
That too is part of the problem, because this problem of affordable housing, I think on paper, Cameroon is very well defined. They've created Maetu, they've created a Credit Foncier to give credit, and these people are not producing the money that should enable them viabilize more land. Maetu should first go out, make sure that the place is good for building by making drainage, making roads, and then selling the land to the people and encourage them to go and build there. And they should go before the people go and establish there. But because they come after, the people have already built and they are trying to manage what is already there. So we have very many of these areas that are not supposed to be for building. They have not been made worthy of building houses. There are no spaces created for schools, hospitals, relaxation areas, and so on, because the council or the administrative authority is going after the people have settled and have done what they have done, sometimes building with no order, no drainages, nothing.
And government is bringing aid to the victims, and at the same time, complaints are already rising from all quarters. I have not received, my house has been destroyed.
That one is just it's the government, and it's an old age means of stealing government money. What is the aid? We saw the minister Tanga, they're giving I don't know, there's mattresses and other thing. What is that? That's how many people can you give that to? One or two people? A bucket, a tin of soap. That's not what is needed. There is no planning. There should be planning, and people should be held accountable.
But won't it alleviate their sufferings for some?
Well, what they have given them, it might alleviate their suffering for a week or two, but come next rainy season, they'll be all out again.
Now,
because nothing has changed on the ground.
In the far north region of the country, famine and the skyrocketing prices of basic commodities on the markets are increasingly weighing down on the people. The people are lamenting over this situation.
Babila, this is tragedy. I know in Kamer we had the Green Revolution in the days of Amadou Ahijo. I don't know whether that Green Revolution did not get up north, but this is a land. This is a land where there is plenty. There's plenty of food. There is no roads. I mean, if you go to the Western Province, you go to the Mungo, in there's food rotting in the bushes. But how can they carry that to the people in the north? Let's suppose that they are really stranded, but their land is also fertile. What has been organized so that these people can farm? What's the training that has been given them? What is the material that has been put at their disposition? Even drinking water, it's difficult for them to get. How can they grow food?
And this is one of the problems that civil society leaders like you, political parties like the CPP, the Stand Up for Cameroon Civil Society Platform, the SDF, and even the CRM political party have been highlighting with regards to the Boko Haram problem, the terrorism problem in that part of the country. That this is the problem that is pushing many young people into...
To answer to that, there's no shortage of people pointing out where the faults are, saying what can be done. But the hyper-centralized system in this country does not permit movement. We're crying out for not decentralization. Let people govern themselves. Whether they want to create a federation or what. But if the local people had the power to manage their own activities, to define what they need, to run it, It will be better, it will be much better. But when they all have to count on somebody in Yaoundé, a minister in Yaoundé, who has to count on the presidency, it just doesn't work.
But that is already been broken down to the...
No, this is just pretense.
To the councils, to the subdivisions and so on.
It is just pretense.
New decentralization code.
Babila, I swear to you,
and Southwest and all of that.
I swear to you, nothing is happening. Nothing will change. They're the same people there, and they are even getting harder. They're even getting more fixed on their situation. Why should they have such a grip on everybody? What's wrong with allowing people to run their own affairs? The Anglophones have been crying for this for 4 years. They went into a national dialogue pretending to give them specificity or whatever they call it. Where is it? Where is specificity? Where is the local government?
But those in power, those in government, those close to the CPDM and so on will tell you that you're just being pessimistic. Why do you think that it's not going to work? Why do you think that the new decentralization code and so on will not change anything?
Because I'm too old in this system, in this country, to be fooled now. I have been fooled for more than 40, 50 years. It won't happen. There is no leadership. There's no what the French call encadrement. They're just people pretending, collecting their salaries, putting in their pockets, and making whatever. And in this country, I ask myself, what are parliamentarians doing? Who makes the law in this country? We have, for example, an instruction given by a minister that cutlasses can only be bought with the authorization. What sense does that make? Are we going to have serial numbers of cutlasses? Does the minister know what a cutlass does? What it is? You have a knee-jerk reaction because cutlass was used in cutting somebody's neck. So now we have to get permission to get cutlasses. When they complain that, or the Anglophones complain that they don't give the ministries, yes, a sovereign ministry, territorial administration, given to an Anglophone. Look at the type of rules he brings. It just permits all the others to say that his son is Anglophone. And he does that to who? To his own brothers. His own brothers, Northwest, Southwest people. So who does he want to criminalize now? For the next 4 months, people will either stop buying cutlasses or buy cutlass at your own risk because you need authority.
And within the context of the Anglophone crisis, some women, notably traders of the Kumbamin market, took to the streets today, protesting against the closure of their market for over a period of 1 week today, and they succeeded to compel the city council to reverse that anti-ghost town strategy. What do you think about what the Kumba City Council is doing, and which is similar to what the Boya Council is doing, in the two councils in the Southwest region, fighting Operation Ghost Town?
These are councils that want to please their masters in Yaoundé. These are councils or representatives of the people who fail to transmit what the problem is. The truth, Babila, is that the people adhere to the ghost town. They believe in it. They hope that through it, which is a very peaceful way of doing things, locking yourself or not doing any activity, the government can react by looking for a solution to their problems. The same force that these women use to force the council to open the shops, they can use it to force the Amber Boys to cancel the ghost towns. But they do believe in the ghost towns. They should forget that it's fear. It's not fear. They believe in the ghost towns. People look up to the ghost towns. People prepare for the ghost towns. All over the big towns, Kumba, Boya,
how can you prove this?
The people have adjusted.
The people are just afraid to be
afraid of nothing. They have adjusted their programs and consider that Monday is another public holiday for themselves. The government should align as well, and they will do it better instead of fighting with their own population. You have people like the DO of Kumba. He represents who? The head of state, who signed the decree putting him there. If he was voted by his people, the people will listen to him. They will sit in a council, they will sit in a meeting and decide whether ghost town is good for them or not.
Are you saying that strategy cannot
it will not
produce the desired results?
You heard the way the man asked the people, next week you open your market, no? They didn't even have the pretense to say yes. They just set them quiet. Because next Monday there will be ghost town. Oh yes.
And
it's a cry from the people. Let us govern ourselves. Let's do things the way we want. We are not threatening you. Remain in Yaoundé. Do what you want to do. Just let us carry our own way of administrating, decide our own things, elect our own people, and we'll go ahead.
In the meantime, there's a military operation going on in the northwest region of the country, a crackdown on the separatist fighters. You saw in this newscast 2 daughters of separatist general handed to the social affairs ministry, and so on. That crackdown, what's your take on it? Can it?
They're just hardening the population. They've recruited more people to the resistance than were before. There are people who are angry. There are people who have been maltreated. And it just wouldn't give anything.
All right. In some few words, what should be done?
Let the people go. Let them govern themselves. We will not split the country because we have our own local council, we have our own regional councils, we have our own elected people, we have our own elected governors. We take governor for like Okala Bilai. I'm sure the man is fed up. He wants to go him back to his village in Goro. He's there. He doesn't know what to do anymore.
All right, David Sunati, civil society leader, thanks for accepting to join us on the 6 p.m. news today.
Thank you, Babylon.
Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for staying with us. Goodbye.